Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description.
This has been an expensive market, right? And so we're kind of in between these worlds. Basically, yesterday was it's just kind of getting slapped. It's like sparring with Mike Tyson with your arms tied behind your back. It was like getting hit again and again and again and feeling like nobody's got your back. Nobody. Powell didn't have your back last week. Nobody's got your back. Suddenly there's something interesting going on, but it doesn't change the fact these tariffs haven't gone away. Okay, there was maybe a little bit of a concession there, but this hasn't gone away. And really the difference is in a very strong market, 6,000, 6,100 at 20 times earnings, you're pricing in perfection. And perfection doesn't just mean from earnings. It means you're being stimulated. You're being embraced by the environment. Everything's going in the right direction. If you head towards a little bit of a recessionary type environment, really, what kind of multiple did you put on it? So it's not just that things, the E part of the PE goes down. You have a sort of re-rating as people bring down the multiples. And so what's appropriate? 15, 16. So I'm not sure a whole lot has gone away. So I see this as a little bit of a gift for now. If you hadn't sort of lightened up, maybe it's a chance to at least get on some hedges, given that volatility levels are very high. And when I say volatility, I just mean option pricing. We know volatility levels are high in terms of actual movement, but you're being given some pricing at the best of times is never super, super cheap.
I was going to say, you're talking about protection, but we also I've got to talk about the earnings because we're going into earnings season very, very soon. And
right. So if you're a CEO, Samantha, if you're a CEO, has today changed anything? Because the narrative yesterday was every single CEO is going to come out and throw his hands up or her hands up and just say, we're pulling guidance. We haven't got a clue, which is how everybody felt. We haven't got a clue what's going on in the world.
Unless there are guidance calls that are very positive because they're in the sweet spot of whatever is going to happen next in this new regime, domestically located with, great margins, and this is going to benefit them. And okay, they're going to be rewarded richly. The ones that don't give guidance are the ones we're still going to hold down over here or hold our nose, depending on the time frame of the trade. But there's not going to be a lot of confidence there because we know that what can happen in 90 days is the tariffs can be on again, off again. He's very mercurial with these because he's still accomplishing whatever he's trying to accomplish. And I still contend that one of the major goals of his first 130 days is to get these bloody tax cuts through and this debt ceiling raised. This is a chart that I put up early when I was like, okay, I'm really alone here in this call, but I see recession risk pulled forward in the end of 2025. And I made that call, as you know, last June for end of 2025 and December for 2025. Now, this is very, of course, Trump tariff terror that is pulling forward, but there are a lot of other very, very instrumental, mechanical, plumbing type treasury drama that's happening underneath that we're not even talking about in this particular webinar. This is what I've written about. This is what Jeffrey is focused on. But my point is the effect is that Goldman, says recession risk is moving higher and all these recession, goes from 0 to 30 to 50 to 60. And then they say, oh, we're in one, then they pull it back, whatever. They're going to be trying to figure this out. But one thing that is very kind of straightforward is this chart that I showed at the beginning of the year where there was zero recession risk priced in. Zero. We were at 6150. And I said, by the way, this will come in handy. Just keep it as a bookmark. I put this on. Since then, as of Friday anyway, the EPS decline was 4.5 percentage points. So I took this kind of red column and our PE multiple has gone down to 19. So 4,900 quote unquote is that kind of fair value. Now we're going to get a feel right now, earnings season. Banks are starting. And I know we got a few questions about banks and I'll show you a quick chart on banks that I have and my concerns about banks. But the big picture is this will be repriced after we get earnings. So they've lowered that bar week after week after week. And now they're going to have to, I'm talking about analysts, and now the companies are going to have to beat. And very few are going to want to give guidance. And the ones that do, that are positive, will probably be showered with gifts, right? Because everyone's looking for where to put money and hide out and be safe. This is something that I want to remind though. Goldman came out, speaking of which, and their range was so whacked from 5,900, which by the way, they ratcheted down whatever their year-end target was. I think it was 6,900 plus 5,900 all the way down, which is crazy, to this quadrant, down here.
I think they've moved it twice, haven't they, Samantha? I think they moved it twice.
They move it intraday, like we
yeah.
but this is what I want to highlight. It isn't Goldman's thing. It is the fact that I found this chart and I thought, no, this is really what we need to be focused on. The recession risk pulled forward is perceived. Actual recession would be very real. So we can unwind a lot of these prices that have happened in the past few weeks if perception turns around. Once we actually trigger recession, not so much. And one of the things I want to highlight here is what happens typically to EPS since we're going into earnings starting Friday with JP Morgan. Well, we have about on average about 19% change in EPS. I just showed you a chart that I grabbed from DataTrack the beginning of the year and I bookmarked this. We're already down to 4,900 on a 5% decline. Okay, Hans is like,
I'm getting it.
You're getting it. You're getting it. We are just starting.
I'm just starting, yeah.
We're just starting. Pace yourself. We're just starting.
Join Samantha and Hans at the next Macro to Micro Options Power Hour, held each Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Registration is free. Scan this QR code or click on the link in the description. Watch the full Options Macro to Micro Power Hour episode by clicking on the video here and subscribe to LaDucTrading YouTube channel for more content.